Welcome to Star Bios, where we delve into the fascinating lives of entertainment legends. Today, we're shining the spotlight on a country music icon, the one and only Merle Haggard. With his unique blend of traditional country, folk, and outlaw swagger, Merle Haggard left an indelible mark on American music. From his humble beginnings to his rise as a trailblazing artist, Merle's story is one of talent, perseverance, and a rebellious spirit that continues to inspire generations. Born on April 6, 1937, in Oildale, California, Merle Ronald Haggard entered the world during a time of great change and upheaval. The Great Depression had left its mark on the nation, and the effects were still being felt in the small oilfield towns of California's Central Valley. The air was thick with the smell of crude oil and the sound of drilling rigs, a constant reminder of the industry that sustained the community. Merle's childhood was shaped by the struggles of his working-class family, with his father, Fenton Haggard, working as a carpenter and later as a machinist for the Santa Fe Railroad. The boxcar, with its cramped quarters and makeshift furnishings, was a far cry from the comfortable homes of the affluent, but it was home for the Haggard family. Growing up in Oildale, Merle was surrounded by the sounds of traditional country music, courtesy of his mother, Harriet Haggard, who played the guitar and sang folk songs. The young Merle would often sit at her feet, mesmerized by the stories she told through song of love, loss, and everyday life. He was particularly drawn to the likes of Jimmie Rodgers, Hank Williams, and Lefty Frizzle, whose music would later influence his own unique style. As a child, Merle was also exposed to the hardships faced by migrant workers, many of whom passed through Oildale in search of work. These early experiences instilled in him a deep empathy for the working class and a strong sense of social justice, which would become a hallmark of his songwriting. Merle's early life was not without its challenges, however. His father's death when Merle was just 9 years old sent the family into a tailspin, with Harriet Haggard struggling to make ends meet as a single mother. The loss had a profound impact on young Merle, who began to act out and struggle in school. He would often find himself at odds with his teachers, who saw him as a troubled child rather than a talented and curious one. It was during this tumultuous period that Merle discovered his love for music, teaching himself to play the guitar and finding solace in the songs of his childhood heroes. The guitar became his confidant, his comfort, and his escape from the hardships of everyday life. As Merle entered his teenage years, he became increasingly fascinated with the world of music, particularly the emerging sounds of rockabilly and early country rock. He spent hours listening to the radio, absorbing the sounds of artists like Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, and Carl Perkins, who were pushing the boundaries of traditional country music. Merle's own musical aspirations began to take shape during this period, with him forming his first band, the Wynn Stewart Band, and playing local gigs in the Oildale area. These early performances were a far cry from the polished shows he would later become known for, but they marked an important milestone in his development as an artist. The 1950s were a pivotal time for Merle Haggard, marked by both personal turmoil and creative awakening. As he navigated the challenges of adolescence, Merle found himself drawn to the rebellious spirit of early rock and roll, which seemed to capture the angst and restlessness of his generation. This was an era of great social change, with the civil rights movement gaining momentum and the rise of suburban culture transforming the American landscape. For Merle Haggard, these external forces would eventually find their way into his music as he began to craft songs that reflected the hopes, fears, and struggles of the common man. One of the most significant influences on Merle's early life was the Bakersfield sound, a unique blend of country, rockabilly, and honky-tonk music that emerged in the 1950s. Artists like Buck Owens, Wynn Stewart, and Tommy Collins were creating a new kind of country music, one that was raw, honest, and unapologetic. Merle was drawn to this sound, which seemed to speak directly to his experiences as a working-class kid from Oildale. He would often sneak into the local bars and clubs, watching in awe as these artists performed their unique brand of country music. The young Merle was forging a unique identity, one that would eventually propel him to the forefront of country music. With his talent, tenacity, and unwavering dedication to his art, Merle Haggard was poised to leave an indelible mark on American music, one that would be felt for generations to come. As Merle Haggard's music career began to take shape, he found himself at the forefront of the Bakersfield sound, a movement that would forever change the landscape of country music. It was the early 1960s, and the air was alive with the sounds of honky-tonk bars, dusty roads, and the whispers of restless spirits seeking a new kind of musical expression. In 1962, Haggard recorded his first single, Singing My Heart Out, which, although not a major commercial success, caught the attention of local DJs and helped establish him as a rising talent in the region. The song's raw, emotional delivery and Haggard's distinctive voice resonated with listeners who were drawn to the authenticity and vulnerability that poured out of every note. This early success was soon followed by his first album, Strangers, released in 1965, which included the hit single, I'm Gonna Break Every Heart I Can. The album's title track, My Friends Are Gonna Be Strangers, would later become a signature song for Haggard, but at the time of its release, it was just one of many tunes that showcased his unique blend of traditional country, rockabilly, and western swing. However, it was his 1966 single, My Friends Are Gonna Be Strangers, that truly put him on the map, reaching the top 10 on the Billboard country charts and marking the beginning of a remarkable run of success. As Haggard's star rose, he found himself playing to increasingly larger crowds, with fans hanging on his every word and craving more of the honest, heartfelt music that seemed to speak directly to their souls. The late 1960s were a defining period for Merle Haggard, with songs like Okie from Muskogee and Mama Tried, not only topping the charts but also speaking to the heart of America. Released in 1969, Okie from Muskogee became an anthem for those disillusioned with the counterculture movement, its lyrics reflecting a longing for traditional values and small-town simplicity. The song's impact was immediate and far-reaching, with many seeing it as a rallying cry for the silent majority who felt left behind by the social and cultural upheavals of the time. As Haggard once reflected on the impact of Okie from Muskogee, I was just trying to say what I felt, and it happened to be what a lot of other people were feeling too. The song's success was not without controversy, however, with some critics accusing Haggard of perpetuating reactionary values, and others hailing him as a voice for the common man. Merle Haggard's relationship with his contemporaries was also significant during this period. His friendship and musical partnership with Buck Owens, another leading figure in the Bakersfield sound, led to some memorable performances and recordings. Together, they embodied the spirit of country music's outlaw era, pushing against the polished, slick productions that were becoming increasingly popular in Nashville. This camaraderie was more than just professional. It represented a shared vision for country music that was authentic, raw, and unapologetic. As Haggard recalled, Buck and we were like two old shoes, comfortable with each other. We'd play together, and it was like the whole room would come alive. Their partnership would go on to influence a generation of country musicians, from Emmylou Harris to Dwight Yoakam, who would draw inspiration from the Bakersfield sound's unique blend of tradition and innovation. In 1970, Merle Haggard released a tribute to the best damn fiddle player in the world, or My Salute to Bob Wills, an album dedicated to the legendary Western swing musician Bob Wills. This tribute not only showcased Haggard's versatility as a musician, but also highlighted his deep respect for the roots of country music. The album was a critical and commercial success, demonstrating Haggard's ability to blend tradition with innovation and push the boundaries of what was possible in country music. As he delved deeper into the world of Western swing, Haggard discovered new sounds and styles that would influence his own songwriting and performance. The album's title track, The Best Damn Fiddle Player in the World, featured a memorable duet with Wills himself, with the two musicians trading licks and laughs in a joyful celebration of their shared musical heritage. His songs were often drawn from personal experience, with Haggard drawing on his own life story to craft narratives that were both deeply relatable and universally applicable. As he sang about the struggles and triumphs of everyday people, Haggard's music became a beacon for those seeking comfort, solace, and a sense of connection in a rapidly changing world. His live performances were equally captivating, with Haggard's charismatic stage presence and quick wit winning over audiences from coast to coast. As Haggard's career reached new heights, he found himself playing to increasingly larger crowds, with fans hanging on his every word and craving more of the honest, heartfelt music that seemed to speak directly to their souls. He became a regular fixture on television, appearing on shows like The Tonight Show and Hee Haw, where he would regale audiences with stories of his childhood, his time in prison, and his struggles to make it in the music business. Through it all, Haggard remained true to himself, refusing to compromise his artistic vision or sacrifice his integrity for the sake of commercial success. As he looked out at the sea of faces before him, Haggard knew that he had found his calling as a singer, songwriter, and storyteller, and that his music would continue to touch hearts and minds long after he was gone. As Merle Haggard's career continued to soar, he remained steadfast in his commitment to his artistic vision, releasing a string of critically acclaimed albums throughout the 1970s and 1980s that not only solidified his position as a country music icon, but also influenced a new generation of artists. The likes of Emmylou Harris, Willie Nelson, and Waylon Jennings often cited Haggard as a primary inspiration, drawn to his unique ability to craft songs that were both deeply personal and universally relatable. His music became a staple of American roots music, weaving together elements of country, blues, and folk to create a distinctive sound that resonated with audiences from all walks of life. In 1982, Haggard's contributions to the world of songwriting were formally recognized when he was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. As Haggard navigated the ever-shifting tides of the music industry, he remained true to his artistic vision, refusing to compromise his values or sacrifice his integrity for the sake of commercial success. The 1990s brought new challenges for Haggard, as his health began to decline and he faced a series of personal and professional setbacks. Yet even in the face of adversity, he continued to tour and record music, releasing several albums that showcased his unwavering dedication to his craft. These recordings, though often marked by a sense of melancholy and introspection, remained infused with Haggard's trademark spirit and resilience, offering a powerful testament to the enduring power of his art. In 2006, Haggard was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, a well-deserved recognition of his contributions to the genre that had been his home for so many years. As he stood on stage surrounded by friends, family, and fellow musicians, Haggard reflected on his life and career with a sense of pride and gratitude, saying, "I've been fortunate enough to have had a career that spanned over 50 years, and I'm still doing what I love." These words, spoken with characteristic humility and sincerity, captured the essence of Haggard's remarkable journey, one that had taken him from the dusty roads of Oklahoma to the pinnacle of success in Nashville. In his later years, Haggard continued to tour and perform, despite struggling with health issues that would have forced a lesser person into retirement. He remained a beloved figure in country music, and his live shows were always met with enthusiasm and adoration from his fans, who cherished the opportunity to see him perform in person. There was something deeply moving about watching Haggard take the stage, his weathered face creased with age and experience, his voice still capable of conveying the full range of human emotion. As he sang, his eyes would often mist over and his voice would crack with feeling, but he never lost sight of the connection he shared with his audience, a bond that transcended mere music to become something deeper and more profound. On April 6, 2016, Merle Haggard passed away at the age of 79, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire and influence musicians to this day. The news of his passing sent shockwaves through the music community, with artists from all genres paying tribute to his memory and celebrating his enduring impact on American music. As Willie Nelson, one of Haggard's closest friends and collaborators, so eloquently put it, Merle Haggard was a brother, a friend, and a hero. He was one of the greatest songwriters and singers of all time. These words, spoken from the heart, captured the essence of Haggard's remarkable spirit, a spirit that had touched countless lives through his music. Today, Merle Haggard is remembered as a country music icon, a true legend who left an indelible mark on the genre. His music continues to be celebrated by fans around the world, and his influence can be heard in the work of countless artists who have followed in his footsteps. Through his songs, Haggard gave voice to the hopes, fears, and dreams of ordinary people, crafting a body of work that remains remarkably relevant today. That's all for today's Star Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'm Casey Gold, reminding you to keep shooting for the stars.